Good morning, Joseph. I'm Jacinta. They told me in the office that you were in the office. You just stopped in. I've got 10 minutes, so I thought I'd pop in and just see how I can help you. Now, you've been to the service before, and you have seen Brian in the past. Yeah. Brian's not. He's out on another case at the moment. Are you comfortable to talk to me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You can help me. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, in order to talk to me though, I'm going to ask you to sign a consent form. I think you've seen one of these before. It's basically just so that we can, it just assures you that any information that you share with me will be treated with confidentiality, and I won't be passing any information on unless I seek your permission to do so, okay? So if you just want to have a look at that and sign that for me. Okay, excellent. Okay, we can have a chat then. So as I said, I'm Jacinta. I've been case manager here for the last 10 months. I'm fairly new to the service and I haven't seen you in that time. So do you want to just give me a little bit of background as to how you got here today and what I can help you with?
Homeless. So yeah, I just have found myself in this terrible situation and I've been sleeping just on a bench the last couple of days, and it's not safe. I really need somewhere safe to sleep. So I tried to get myself a payment from Centrelink, but what Centrelink are like, they're meant to be there to help us, and they just don't. You line up for ages, and then they pretty much tell you to get lost.
Okay, so yeah, that is extremely frustrating. So, and you're doing all the right things by trying to get assistance for yourself, so that's great, but yes, it can be extremely frustrating. So we're happy to help you organise something. Organising accommodation for you tonight is definitely something that we can do here. Now, in terms of leading to your homelessness, how long have you been homeless for?
I've been homeless for about, I don't know, you lose track of time in these situations. Probably, I suppose, maybe 4 or 5 months, but it's only the last few nights that I've had to sleep on the street. I've been staying with friends and my sister and, just moving from place to place. And that wasn't ideal, but now I'm finding myself, the situation really is just getting worse and worse.
Okay, so you mentioned there that you did stay with your sister, so you have family in the area?
Yeah, but we don't get along, so it's not a good option.
Okay.
Yeah, with my mental health, she doesn't understand that having schizophrenia isn't something that I did to myself, that it's something that's just happens to people, and it could have been her in this situation who thinks she'd have a bit more empathy or sympathy or something, but no.
Okay. And I can understand the frustration that you must feel in her lack of understanding about your condition. So when was your diagnosis for schizophrenia?
Probably when I was in high school, really. I started to hear different voices, but I just, I didn't really know what it was. Not a lot about mental health stuff about, 20 years ago when I was diagnosed. So you just go along and things just get worse and worse, and then, I'm gay as well, and my family just thought that, because I'm gay, then, well, of course I'd have a mental illness, and they just thought it was all part of the same thing, but it's not really, it's different. So I've been on medication for probably the last 15 years off and on.
Okay. And, I sense there's some frustration and definitely some, hurt feelings surrounding your family's understanding of your first sexuality and your mental health condition. Have you had any sort of family counselling with your family, or?
No, they're not really up for that kind of thing.
Okay.
They're a bit religious, really, a bit churchy, and I didn't fit that model either. So, there's a lot of reasons why we don't get along, and they just want to try and convert me to religion, and I've got enough going on in my illness and different things. And when I'm on the medication, I'm pretty good, but it's still up and down. The medication has to be adjusted sometimes, and that takes a little bit of time. It's hard work.
Okay. Yeah, I hear your frustration there. So, do you have problems? Are you able to take your medication? Are you comfortable with taking your medication?
Yeah, I have to take it. I'm much better. I can make better decisions and things when I'm taking my medication.
Yeah. So you haven't touched base with us for about 8 months. Is there any particular reason for that?
Things were going well, you know. I was in a good, well, I thought it was a good relationship. Turned out not to be so good, but you know, things were going well. The service had helped me such a lot before, and we'd really got me on track. And you know, things were going really well for me. And then, you know, these things all just seemed to go in a heap all at the same time. And my boyfriend beat me up, and I ended up in hospital. And then, you know, I realised that I just can't go back to that kind of relationship. It's just not good for me, and I need to move forward in my life and try to start thinking about my future.
Yeah. Well, that's great that you're thinking that way. That's definitely, it's good to see that you're wanting to work towards a change and a good for yourself, so that's great. And I think that it's great that you're willing to take your medication. I know sometimes it can be really daunting. There can be side effects to your medication, and that can make it very difficult to take. So, you know, I understand any reservations you have, and I think it's great that you're comfortable to take your meds. Do you have a regular GP that you stay in contact with? Or?
No. I did have a GP in the area I live with my partner, but I'm not willing to go back there. It's too close to, you know, so I don't have one at the moment.
So in terms of your partner or your ex-partner, are there any issues there which you need help addressing? And mind you, we wouldn't be able to address them today, but it's certainly something that we can look forward to long term. But right now, are there any concerns that you have that we need to address in this instance concerning violence and your ex-partner?
No, not today. You know, perhaps going forward, but all I can really think about today is my homelessness and my Medicaid or lack of medication. So,
Okay.
you know, they're really the only things that I'm concentrating on right now.
Okay. So what I'm getting from you right now is that we need to focus on finding you a place to stay tonight, and we need to focus on getting you some medication.
For sure.
And we'll focus on those two for now, and then we can keep in contact, and you can either come back and see me, or you can come back and see somebody else from the service, and we can look at them working on some of those long-term goals and you know, placing you into a position of independent, sustainable living, okay? Now, in terms of confidentiality and consent, once again, we'll go through the process because I'm going to need to talk to Access Crisis Housing. They'll be able to organise you a bed to stay, but I'm going to have to pass on your details to them. Are you comfortable with me doing that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll get you just to sign this form, have a read of the form, and just then to tick and sign so that you acknowledge that consent and you acknowledge me passing your information on.
No worries.
Okay. So have I basically, or is there anything else that you have concerns about in the process? Like, are there any concerns that you have and what's going to happen now?
No, I think you've been pretty clear. Now, will I see the GP today, or?
We can absolutely organise that. We have a local GP here. Are you comfortable seeing a man, or would you prefer a female GP?
No, whatever.
Male GP? Okay. We'll organise that as a priority. We'll get you in this afternoon, and then we'll take you over to Access Crisis Housing and set you up there. Somebody from the service will be in contact with you at all times to explain the next part of our journey together. We understand that, you know, this is a scary process and that questions and concerns are going to come up. So you'll have our card and our phone number, and we want you to keep in contact with us at all times, and we'll keep in contact with you. And what we'll do is we'll set up another appointment for next week so we can start looking at some of these long-term issues and looking at how we can get you set up and try and break this cycle of homelessness. Do you think that, and I want you to have a think about before we meet next week about any circumstances or any events that you think might be contributing to your homelessness so that we can look at breaking those patterns, yeah?
Sure.
Okay, do you have any questions that you want to ask?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so what we might do now is I'll go and make a phone call and we'll set you up with some accommodation for the night. We'll get you over to see the doctor and then we'll take it step by step from there, okay?
Cool.
All right, well thank you for coming in and seeing us, Joseph. and I'll get back to you, and we'll get you over to Crisis Housing. All right. Thank you.